Hello and welcome to Tasting with Mike and Matt. I'm Mike Veach and this is my partner in crime, Matt Kohorst.
Howdy.
And today we're doing something different. We're on the road and we are going to be tasting some Yellowstone whiskeys with the best brand ambassador in the industry, Steve Fante.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome to the little event at Tasting Bar and Lounge, my home.
Okay. So we've got several things to taste here. We've got a couple of Yellowstones that Steve has furnished, and I have brought along a Bottled In Bond Yellowstone from about 1971-72. As my friend John Lippman says, the smart government thinking was to put red ink that dissolves in alcohol on the tax stamp. And the dates have faded away, but the glass is from 71, so it's probably 71, 72. It's a 6-year-old whiskey, which means that it's probably distilled 65 or 66. So,
yeah, which ones do we want to taste first? Or which one do we want to taste first?
we'll start with the Yellowstones that Steve furnished, and we're also pairing it today with a Padron cigar.
Delicious, quite tasty.
So, we'll start with this one, which
Beautiful.
is the Yellowstone Hand-Picked by Pity the Fool. You want to talk about Pity the Fool?
Sure, our employees on their birthday get a chance to pick a barrel of whiskey. It gives them an opportunity to see how we do barrel picks, but it also gives back to the most important asset we have, which is the people that help make everything happen. So this particular one was picked at the distillery. They got the barrel afterward. They got a bottle for their birthday, and they got a 6-pack at cost if they decided to buy some more. These are exclusive to the distillery gift shop, so when you go to the gift shop and you see one of these, the employee that actually picked the barrel is there to sign the bottle as well. So they get an opportunity to sign bottles as well. 115 proof because it was chosen to be better at 115. We tasted it at 109, 115, and 119. This particular barrel showed best at 115, and that's what they chose it at. Totally their choice.
Don't see his signature on this bottle.
No, because that one just came straight out of the gift shop. That's called trunk whiskey.
Oh, okay.
I always try to keep some single barrels with me when I'm traveling.
Now, Stephen, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into the industry?
Sure. I was in the coffee and tea business. I was working for John Conte Coffee and Tea Company. And I'm downtown at Brown-Forman on their campus weekly, doing deliveries when I first started out to their campus. And then years later I became key accounts manager, and Brown-Forman was one of my key accounts. So I did the visits and checked up on what we were doing in the coffee and how happy they were. When I left the company and I went to work for Consumer's Choice, they were with Consumer's Choice. They had switched, and I was key accounts manager for Brown-Forman. So long story short, I'd always wanted to be in the bourbon industry, even though I was in the coffee business. Seeing that beautiful campus down there and knowing so many people over so many years, 16 years at John Conte, I was involved with Brown-Forman, and then another 8 years after that, I was involved with Brown-Forman in the coffee. So when Stephen Beam and we'd known each other since I was 7, and he's 10 years older than me, so he was good friends with my brother Leo. They went to Trinity High School together. I went to St. X. We won't hold it against him. When he told me that he was going to open a craft distillery, I told him I was in. And so it took about a year and a half, almost 2 years, before he got it up and running to the point where he could employ anybody else. And at that point he told his brother, if we're going to take this thing to the next level, if we're going to go to more states, we need a representative out in the field doing that work. And there's only one person that I know of that could accomplish it the way I think it needs to be done. We need to hire Stephen Fante. He did an incredible job with the Conti iced tea, and he was always incredible in the coffee business. So let's send him down south and see if he can sell some moonshine. So that's how it got started.
What year did you guys open up the Limestone Branch?
2011 was the opening. The shovel hit the ground in 2011. By 2012, he had his first gold medal for corn whiskey.
Okay.
So that's a 7th generation beam on a still. That's what you expect, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
My favorite quote from Steve Beam was when he first opened the distillery. I was talking with him. He goes, "Yeah, I have to make good whiskey, otherwise my family's going to kick my ass."
It's a true story. There was a lot of pressure on his shoulders to come out with something extraordinary.
Well, he's
every
definitely
time.
accomplished it.
Yeah, he's done a great
Yellowstone's one of my favorites, for sure. I love it.
job. Well, speaking of Yellowstone.
Yes. Can't talk about whiskey without drinking
That's
some.
right.
Well, it's got a nice nose. Lots of vanilla and a little bit of corn.
Maybe some sweet cherry.
Yeah, cherry or dates, maybe.
Dates, maybe.
And the baking spices, smoke.
Definitely get the baking spice on the back end of it.
Well, we haven't tasted it
I
yet. You're
did.
ahead of us.
I didn't wait.
Let's taste it.
See if you agree. Baking spice
Oh,
on
yeah.
the back end of it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's got a beautiful citrus note to it.
It does, yeah. Lovely. I still get, I think you're right with the dates. So I get, vanilla dates, lovely baking spices in the back, nice oak. And I don't know if it's the cigar, but I get a little tobacco on the finish as well.
And for the proof, finishes with a bit of a tingle, but definitely not what I would expect from 115. It's pretty smooth.
Very smooth.
Now,
Now, what is the duties of a brand ambassador?
Well, with a craft distillery, I think things are different than with the big distilleries because you pretty much wear every hat. You just do whatever's necessary at whatever time it's necessary, from cleaning the toilets to, taking out the trash, you name it. There's nothing above any of us, including Mr. Bean. He's the first to jump in to get up whatever done needs to be done. As we've grown and we've put on a lot more people, the focus as a national brand ambassador has been to educate our distributors on our products, educate them on the history of our distillery and the family that's running it. It is important for them to know where we came from, where our roots were, to get to the point where we're at right now. And so I preach the gospel of America's native spirit across the country, and we do lots of tastings because whiskey to lips is what moves the brand. And once you've tasted it, you typically go out and buy it because it's fantastic. So that's what I do across the nation. It might be Iowa tomorrow. Who knows? Might be at the distillery next week where I'm selling barrels. Primary part of my job is to meet with all the guests that decide they want to purchase a barrel of whiskey, and so that's we've got a new barrel tasting lodge at the distillery, and we hand pick and hand select, and I teach them how we do it, which is a little different than most because we're doing it with proof as well as barrels.
I thought this whiskey brought out a nice dried fruit note in the cigar. But
More research.
But the cigar really brought out that sweet candied orange in the whiskey.
I'm in complete agreement with that statement.
Now, what we always do is we like to taste our whiskeys with a dried cranberry, a pecan, and a piece of dark chocolate,
Nice.
and see how that changes the whiskey. So we'll start with the dried cranberry. Really brought out the vanilla. And the spice becomes to me more of a white pepper on the finish.
Now I'm getting that cherry.
You're getting that cherry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a nice peppery finish, you're right. The finish is amazing.
I'm picking up on black pepper.
Black pepper?
Mm-hmm.
You think more black pepper than white pepper?
To me it is.
Okay.
But I've not consumed much white pepper, so.
Yeah. I can see it. It is bordering on the white pepper or black pepper for me as well. But to me, it's just a little bit more of a floral white pepper.
The one thing that you know about Stephen Fante is his cooking skills are not that great.
So now we go on and we taste it with the pecan.
Nice.
We do it, the cranberry we do it for the concentrated sugar. See how that affects the whiskey. Pecan, we do it because of the tannins. You know, it's a nut. It's going to have more tannins.
Good meat.
Well, that enhanced the flavor of that pecan big time.
Mm-hmm. Chocolate notes for me.
Yeah, brought out chocolate notes in the whiskey.
Yeah, it's delicious. Gives that nice strong oak finish on that one.
Oak, but not much pepper.
No,
Not much
no, that
spice at all.
disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but that oak
Pretty
is just sitting there
incredible.
for me. It's nice and warm. Yeah, that was a lovely sip. I think neat and pecan right now are my two favorites.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we haven't tried it with the chocolate.
I tried it with
so-
chocolate yet.
Michelle Lux, Don Lux's wife, has some special chocolates that she has at Lux Road Distillery, our sister distillery. And it's something that they've had in their family for years. And she brings those in. So they do all the tastings with chocolate at Lux Row. We do art edibles. They do a fantastic job with mixing our bourbons into the chocolates.
Oh, I love Kelly. She does a great job.
Yeah,
Got a
there.
great palate.
She does.
So let's take a bite of chocolate.
All right.
An orange chocolate truffle. That's what it tastes like to me.
Maybe a little pepper jelly
A little pepper jelly.
on
Yeah.
the finish for me.
Yeah.
That's very good.
The orange comes out in the front, pepper comes out on the back, and the linger.
I'm gonna do a puff of the cigar and take a sip.
Let's try it again with the cigar and let's see.
Well, I think you've ruined me, Michael. I'm going to have cranberries, all this, whenever I do tastings now. That's nice. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I got this idea from Weta Michaels.
Okay.
I used to do the Woodford Bourbon Academy, Chris Morris and Rita Michael, and she had a tasting room
Oh, yeah.
where she had different foods set out there. It was usually a piece of dried fruit, like either a cranberry or a cherry, either hazelnut or a pecan, a little bit of aged Parmesan cheese.
Oh. I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Cheese is my downfall.
A slice of orange where you could taste it with both the pulp and the squeeze a little zest on your tongue.
Uh-huh.
And see how that changes it. A piece of chocolate. And I tell you, if you've never had it, you really need to get it. Try it. Sorghum molasses. A little spoon of sorghum molasses.
I think I have some of that in the house.
You ought to try any bourbon with sorghum molasses. It is fantastic.
Being as far down in the country as we are in Lebanon, there's always somebody selling sorghum. There's always somebody selling honey.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I stop someplace, pick up a sandwich on the way in or way out, I end up with that stuff.
So,
Delicious first bottle to taste there.
yes.
Yes, this is a great kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do love the legs on that bourbon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rinse my glass out a little, and then we'll go on to your next whiskey here.
This one is very unique as a single barrel. Only available where? Our gift shop.
Yeah.
This is the New American Single Malt, and it's the first barrel that we put in the gift shop.
Yeah. And it's called It's a Gem. Jem.
And what's the proof on it?
116.
Why is it 116, Michael? Because it tasted better at 116. I love that part.
Now, I'll have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of American single malts.
Well, good, because this will be an honest opinion then.
To me, they tend to be a little bit one-dimensional.
Yes, all barley.
Yeah.
For us, it's all barley, malted
But-
barley.
I have had a few that I rather liked, and I think they're decent. But generally, if I want to drink a single malt, I'm going to drink a Scotch single malt. You know. But this will be interesting to see.
If I was to drink this with anything, it would be a Maduro cigar, so this pairing should be phenomenal together. We'll see.
Well, once again, the nose to me is a little one-dimensional. You get that barley malt.
Mhm.
You get a little bit of vanilla, a hint of oak, and that's about all I'm really getting off of it on the nose. Let's taste it. That's better than I was really expecting.
That is good. That's very good.
You get a lot of vanilla, then you get a little bit of a candied fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to decide, is it raspberry? Is it cherry?
Let me try this again, because I did get the fruit pop, but it was on the very back end of it.
Yeah.
I'm almost getting like a blackberry.
Blackberry.
A little tart.
Mm.
It's a little
Yeah.
tart.
Yeah, blackberry.
Yeah, that's
Blackberry.
fantastic. I really like that.
I love blackberries.
And
That is a
there's a-
blackberry.
And there is just a little bit of a spice to it, but I'm thinking it's more like an allspice.
I go with that. Yeah.
Linger of allspice.
See
It's
what
tasty.
See how it tastes with the Maduro cigar. Let my cigar go out again.
That happens. Talk too much and your cigar goes out.
Yeah. Well, it is like 90 degrees out here, and we've got the fans blowing too, which doesn't help.
The humidity here is serious right now. You could be in a pool and have less humidity.
Now with Yellowstone, I think I read this somewhere. Does a portion go to the parks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The National Parks Conservancy is the leading entity that's taking care of our parks for the majority of the history of our parks. And it is a private entity, so it's not a government agency. And they rely on support to do that. And our parks need support. So we have dedicated, we're coming up on $1 million of dedication to the national parks. And I think that's going to happen by the beginning of this coming year, if it doesn't happen already by the end of this year.
That's great.
So
I love
that's a
that.
serious dedication to our National Parks Conservancy.
Definitely,
That wasn't the only one that we've supported. We've supported the Louisville parks as well. So our local parks got a lot of support from us as well. It's an important thing to have parks to go to.
Right.
It really is. Yeah.
I found that the whiskey didn't change the cigar that much, but the cigar really enhanced that candied fruit flavor.
Oh yeah.
Real sweet,
It's
blackberry, raspberry.
Pairs nicely together.
it really does. Yeah.
Well, let's see what cranberry does for it.
Peggy Stevens No was the first experience I had down at the New Orleans Bourbon Festival of really pairing foods with whiskey. She is absolutely incredible. Her palate is.
Her palate's pretty legendary, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
She knows how to cook, I guarantee. Not like Fante.
Well, she was one of Brown Forman's first women master tasters, too. That cranberry, once again, really brought out the vanilla and the dried fruit.
I've got like a little hint of coffee bean on that.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's because you're on my porch. Coffee is what built this place. Thank you, John Conti.
So let's try it with pecan and see what happens.
This house next to us is Olivia Reisinger. Olivia Reisinger is Joni Conti's daughter.
Oh, really?
It's John Conti's granddaughter that lives next door to me.
Oh, wow.
What a world we live in Louisville.
Yeah.
Everything is 2 degrees of separation.
If you live in Louisville, you know John Conti.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest coffee company.
What do you think about that?
I thought that brought out the caramel with a hint of chocolate.
That's very rich, delicious. I'm still getting a little hint of that blackberry, which
Yeah.
I love. I love that tartness at the end. That's so good.
You know, I haven't drank a lot of our American single malt, but after today, I'm going to be drinking a lot more of it.
I was gonna say, so this one's only available at the
At the distillery gift shop.
I gotta get to that distillery. This is really good stuff.
If you're out on the bourbon trail, you're coming from far away, typically. You're not coming to Kentucky to find something that you can buy in your own home state.
Right.
If you're a distillery in the state of Kentucky and you do not have unicorns up on your bar for tasting and for sale in your gift shop, you're doing a disservice to the entire damned industry.
I agree.
I got opinions. That's another one.
Well, I've been posting on Facebook and every place else I could think of for 12, 15 years now. In my opinion, every distillery needs to have a 8-year-old bottled in bond
I'm loving it.
that is only available in their gift shop.
I love it. Keep preaching it.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Beam is preaching it.
Yeah.
I know he's trying to
Because
save back
like you
as
said-
much juice right now as he can for a bottled in bond. We have this one that's behind you that I made a lamp out of, and that's the Bargetown Collection. It's available at our gift shop right now. It meets all the criteria of bottled in bond, but because it was a single barrel, we didn't go through the process through the TTB to make it a bottled in bond. Because it's just a single barrel. It's going to be gone in a minute. But that's all off of pot still, all off of his juice. It is Mike Dance recipe. We got Mike Dance desk pad written in the recipe, 28% red wheat, 60% corn, the rest in malted barley. That's what that is. It's with minor case beams yeast strain, and it's off 150 gallon alembic, just like J.W. Dant stilled off of on his second run. That's Steve Beam on a very tactile still, like an MG, learning it from the ground up. Some of our first juice is available right now for the Bargetown Bourbon Festival. They came up with the Bargetown Collection, and our wheated is freaking phenomenal. It's one of the highest wheat contents I know of, 28%. That's what I got to say about that.
Well, let's try it with a piece of chocolate.
I think it's a great decision.
Yeah, we always chose the Hershey's dark chocolate because it was something everybody could get.
Yeah. Sounds like Louie's on patrol.
I'm getting like cherries and cinnamon on it. That's kind of.
And I'm also getting that coffee that you were talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really liked the chocolate. It ran the whole gamut for me. I think it brought out different things with each pairing, and all of them were nearly equally as good as the other. So I think this one really lends itself to whatever you want to do with it, you know.
Dark roast coffee.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't light roast. That was a dark roast flavor.
Let's try the cigar again.
Summertime in Kentucky.
Yeah.
God bless you all. It's so exciting to have both these guys here at my house. I've had a lot of guests come to this little event at Tasting Bar and Lounge from the industry, Bernie Lubbers, multiple guests. For this very special day to have Rosemary, and Michael here. And I do that Rosemary every time because my mama's middle name was Marie. Rosemary and Michael in this house. I've been looking forward to it for quite some time.
How long have you guys known each other for?
Well, he came to the distillery and took my tour early on, and he was impressed. And then he smacked me in the head and said, "That's not right." And he gave me some good stuff. No, I asked for it.
You
I
asked
said,
me. I wasn't
your
going to say a
opinion.
word, but you asked me
I
for
love it.
You
I've known
asked
his
me-
reputation for years, so
Yeah.
get a chance to give him a tour was like an apex to the career. And at the end of it, I wanted to know what he thought.
Well,
And sure enough.
what happened was is that I sat down and he went through the history section and everything, and he was talking, finished it, and he looks over at me and goes, "So what do you think? What did I get right? Or what did I get wrong?" I said, "Well,
Help me
I'm
improve
only
it."
going to say this because you asked,
Mm-hmm.
but you said that Yellowstone has the Old Faithful on the label," and I said, "Well, that only happened after the centennial of the park. Before that, they had the
Waterfall.
falls. They had the falls of the Yellowstone on the label." And Steve looks at me and he goes, "Really?" And then he goes over and he looks at one of those old labels on the wall.
We had
And he goes,
right there in the.
he goes, "I'll be damned."
Yes.
So now I have this.
Extremely special.
This is a Yellowstone half pint, 6-year-old, the greatest American whiskey.
That.
When this came out, it was the biggest selling bourbon in Louisville. I think early times was still the biggest selling bourbon in Kentucky, but this was the biggest selling bourbon in Louisville. And it's excellent whiskey. It's got a Bottled In Bond tax stamp, but unfortunately, like I was saying before,
Red ink.
the red ink fades with alcohol, and the dates are gone. So the bottle has a 71 date on the bottle, so 71 glass, so it's probably either bottled 71 or 72. And so it's either distilled in 65 or 66.
Which means Stephen Fante, incepted in 1967, it's probably as old as I am.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That is awesome.
Drink something for your birthday. 57 years old.
And this has a screw cap. I love screw caps.
They never fail.
They never fail. I mean, look at the fill level on that.
It's beautiful.
You know, you don't get that out of a cork.
No, you do not. Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, I want you to know that when we finish this tasting, you get to keep the bottle.
Well, winning.
You say don't pour so much?
Yeah. Why are you drinking so much over there, Veach? Hey, you know, first time I think I met you, what's the private historian club downtown?
Filson.
The Filson. I think that was the first time I met you, was at the Filson. We had some kind of tasting down at the Filson that we were doing, and I think I met you there for the first time.
Yeah.
Some
Great
people
color.
that you want to know in life.
Sometimes you have to let these older bottles breathe a little to get rid of that kind of a. But this one you don't. And I think that's the screw cap.
Oh, it's intoxicating.
Yeah. Very nice vanilla. Ripe pear. Hint of baking spice, some oak. That's what I'm getting. What do you get?
All of those things, and reluctant to taste it because I'm enjoying the nose so much.
Yeah. But you, Matt?
Look at the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Color is beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Beautiful amber color.
I asked Steve Beam one time, Michael, why can't we make whiskeys from yesteryear? Why can't we make the taste and flavor that you get out of a dusty like this? And he said, Stephen, the environment's changed. We no longer have forestry like we did in Kentucky. We no longer have clean streams like we had in Kentucky. I mean, we've got great water here, but the purity of the streams back in the Daniel Boone days was crystal. And that's what these things can be associated with.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do too with barrel entry proof, distillation
Yes.
proof. You know,
This went in at what, 105, you think?
oh, probably no higher than 110.
Yeah. And that's what Steve had started out with, was 107
Yeah.
proof, entry proofs. Because he said it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only if you're old school family in the bourbon industry do you pick up on that immediately, knowing, yeah, that's an influencer.
It's just wonderful.
Like I said.
Cream, smooth, no bite.
Yeah.
That is literally the Yellowstone commercial.
Yeah.
The whiskey with no bite.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of that, like an orange citrus, vanilla.
I'm definitely getting that pear though.
Mm-hmm.
Rich vanilla, a little bit of corn, some oak,
A bit of oak.
and baking spices, but I can't really decide what the spice is.
Dry.
Yeah.
It's drier than the spices I was getting out of ours.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe cardamom,
So there's a little citrus
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little cinnamon too.
a little cinnamon maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see what a cigar puff does.
A little Earl Grey on the back end.
Yeah.
That would be appropriate for a tea.
That really enhanced the pear in the whiskey. The cigar did.
Yeah.
Relight again.
And I'm getting like a nice cinnamon, and even like maybe a little bit of red pepper finish, which is really nice.
I think the whiskey.
So Mike, you probably know like a little bit about the original Yellowstone. Tell us a little bit about
7th Street, Taylor and Williams, in those days, as you were a young man in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was one of the bigger brands of bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever visit down there?
No.
I hadn't either, but I drove past it a lot.
Oh yeah. But Yellowstone actually started in Yosemite,
Yeah.
in Kentucky, and they didn't open the Shively plant until after Prohibition.
It was just warehousing, wasn't it? It was just the rick houses down there, wasn't it?
What? Shively?
Yeah.
No, they built a
They had a
distillery.
distillery there too. You're teaching me things.
Yeah, they built a distillery there because the distillery down in Yosemite was closed.
Okay.
Prohibition.
Right.
And I think they even had a big fire.
Okay. That would make sense.
But they started the distillery back up after Prohibition. And in 1942, 43 I think it was, they sold the brand to Glenmore.
Okay.
And Glenmore bottled it, and it became that, and Kentucky Tavern was their flagship brands. And
KT's restaurant that was down the street from us right here. We were on the street of the oldest rick houses in the state of Kentucky. Down the street from that was KT's Tavern, named after
Kentucky Tavern.
Kentucky Tavern. It's now Lemieux Restaurant.
Yeah. But Buddy Thompson, who inherited the distillery, always thought that Yellowstone had a very mellow mash. So he introduced the mellow mash brand. And when he sold Glenmore to United Distillers, that's the one brand that he kept. So let's try
His daughter, wasn't she like a chef for La Pêche and Lily's?
Yeah, she was the owner.
Yeah, I like her a lot. Kathy Carey.
Mhm.
Shout out to Kathy Carey. Always loved her.
Oh, she owned Lily's that was right
Yeah.
off of Bargetown Road?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that place just closed down, what, a few years ago?
With the COVID.
With COVID. Okay. Went there a few times. It was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Oh, she had the best chicken pot pie.
You know, she was one of the best chefs we've ever had in Kentucky.
Yeah.
One of those things in the background of Stephen Fante is working with the Kentucky Restaurant Association for all those years in the coffee industry and being on the board with the Kentucky Restaurant Association. I got to know all the chefs and all the restaurants and all the culinary, and I still participate on the outskirts of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
We've got a great culinary scene in Kentucky because of the Sullivan University. Sullivan Culinary Arts University is the second in the nation culinary school, and that's why we have so many independently held restaurants that do such great things here. So when you come to Kentucky for the Bourbon Trail, eat at an independently held restaurant. It's phenomenal.
Yes. I found that the cranberry really enhanced that fruit.
Yes.
And the cinnamon for me.
And cinnamon.
I'm just getting a lot of cinnamon. A lot of pear.
Mm-hmm.
I got a serious fruit bomb on my palate immediately.
Yeah. Those concentrated sugars just really brought out the fruit. Didn't it? With the pecan, see what it does.
Awesome.
caramel chocolate bomb.
Yeah. Rich, chewy mouthfeel. It's great finish. I mean, just oak.
Oh yeah, the finish
little
is
leather. in that finish.
leather, tobacco,
Yeah.
oak, and just a hint of cinnamon, maybe a little allspice.
I go with that. Yeah. It's a great taste of whiskey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the almond is the best.
Oh,
I like it the better.
pecan.
The pecan. Pecan is the best. It
I gotta agree with you there. Yeah.
enhances
that
it significantly.
Well, we haven't
just
tried
made
it
it
with
so
chocolate
rich.
yet.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I think I'm going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat that.
That is.
Let's try it with a piece of chocolate. That's pretty damn good too.
Take a piece of aluminum with it.
Rich caramel.
Dries the finish for me. I like it though.
Good dry. I think it's
I
ready.
wasn't expecting to do that. Welcome to downtown Louisville.
Yeah.
Choppers flying over.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's giving me raisins.
Raisins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely some type of
Raisins.
Yeah.
some type of dried
Dates.
fruit.
Yeah.
It's good. I don't know. Pecan's awful good, but so is the chocolate.
I'm going back to pecan. I'm not a sweet person typically, so therefore I do lend myself more to the drier. My sweets are in the glass, always. That is an incredible pour. That is an incredible master distiller. Do you have any idea, Michael, in your history and your knowledge, who that could have possibly been in 1965 that would have been distilling that juice? Or is that just way lost and way gone?
If I'm not mistaken, it was a dam.
Well, that would make sense.
Steve Beam could tell you.
Yeah, you know he could.
I think it was a dam in the 60s.
Mike?
Maybe.
Okay. Phenomenal.
I always thought that the Dants were one of the families that is definitely overlooked.
Yeah.
They, before Prohibition, there were more Dants than there were Beams. The problem is they had a lot of daughters,
Yeah.
and the daughters married Beams.
Yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
So they're still
You
in
hung
the
out,
business.
you
They're still,
hung out with it, yeah.
you know, the descendants of J.W. Dant are still in the business. They just are Beam. And
Touched the majority of the distilleries. Steve Beam's family touched more distilleries than any other that I know of because they were in everything. The main
there were a
beam,
lot of Wathans.
those beams that have the Beam Distillery were mainly at the Beam Distillery. The Earl Beam that helped started Heaven Hill, right?
Right.
You know, you got Earl. You got somebody. Even Stitzel Weller had a beam on the stills back when Pappy Van Winkle was Pappy Van Winkle of yesteryear. You taste the dusty of Pappy Van Winkle, and it's like, oh my
The
God,
Stitzel
that's so good.
Distillery had Elmo Beam,
Elmo.
but when they opened the Stitzel Weller Distillery, he didn't go. He stayed at the Stitzel Distillery when Heaven Hill bought, not Heaven Hill, but Four Roses bought the distillery.
Okay.
And they hired Will McGill,
Yes.
who was also related to the Beams. He was married to a Beam.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I've heard the name multiple times, but I didn't realize he was married to a Bean daughter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then Sitzelweller had a guy named Cochran who only lived a couple of years. He died in a car wreck. And after him, Roy Hawes took over. Roy Hawes, to me, is the best distiller that ever existed. He made some fantastic whiskey at Sitzelweller. From the 50s all the way up into the 70s.
We're losing some of this, Michael. What's the next generation going to have in knowledge?
They'll have it. It's out there. I'm doing what I can.
I know you are.
Doing what I can.
That's why I appreciate you so daggone much. It's one of those things that Steve Bean tries to do is impart the history and the flavor and the excitement of what this American spirit's all about. It's
That's right.
you sit down with certain people, and there's certain people that everyone should have in their life. Michael Veach, Rosemary, these are people that you want in your life. Stephen Bean is a person, if you don't know him, get to know him. He's very approachable. You need to know these people in your life. If you're a bourbon aficionado or you're a bourbon geek and you don't know these people, introduce yourself. That's what I got to say about that.
Well, all I know about Steve Bean is if anything ever happens to me, I know where Rosemary's going. She loves Steve Bean.
How could you not? He's awesome. Paying attention to my cigar again, Michael.
Yeah, this is very good.
Scrape that off. Stern wheeler over here.
So, I hate to say it, but I have to say it. I think the Yellowstone that I bought is the best we tasted today.
Well, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that it was phenomenal.
I would follow it up with the single barrel bourbon and then the malt. But they were all excellent.
Yeah, there wasn't anything in the group that I'd kick out. I liked all of it. And I have a new appreciation for our American single malt after getting a chance to really slow down. That's one of the things as a national brand ambassador you don't do much of, is slow down.
Right.
Slowing down and enjoying like this on Porch.
Yeah, by the way, thank you for inviting us
Yeah.
to the Porch. This is
Oh, and
amazing.
thank
It's an
you.
open invitation anytime.
Thank you for the
ever get out.
gift
right.
of
Yeah.
these fine cigar whiskey
The
containers.
football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which included a couple bottles of whiskey.
No football. A Pelican case. I wanted something special to give to folks that have done great things in the industry, and you know, our brands. People like Molly Wellman received the football. Molly has a football. Fred Ninick has a football. We've got folks like yourself that have the football. People that are important to me in this industry just might receive a football because I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing for the industry and the brands and bourbon in general. So that's what that's about. I had it custom made, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Yes, it is. A couple bottles, some glasses, places to hold your cigar.
Don't talk about the pistol
No.
or the extra clips or the tactical knife. Don't talk about that.
The cigar cutter, a lighter.
I gotta
Flashlight.
say, I showed it to some people at work, and needless to say, they were kind of salivating over it. So
Molly
I
told me.
appreciate that.
Molly said, when I walk in with this thing, people are going to go, oh my gosh. And they always do with mine. Oh my gosh. Who are you?
I gotta say, for me, American single malt fan, definitely the Yellowstone. I really like that bottle. I wasn't sure if I would, but I don't know. Between the Old Dusty and single malt, those are my two favorite of the day for sure.
And today, I got two special gifts for these guys, because if you come to a little event at Tasting Bar Lounge, you could probably expect a gift. Michael, today I have a vinyl record given to me by Charlie Crockett of one of his original releases, and that is yours to take with you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm giving you a bottle of the Single Barrel American Single Malt.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Stephen.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. It won't go to waste, I promise. Probably be sipping on some of that with some friends this next weekend. So I appreciate that.
I think I like the American Single Malt. It definitely is probably the best American Single Malt that I have tasted. I particularly liked it. I don't know, the pecan or the chocolate. I don't know. Both of them are very good.
I think I like that one with the chocolate. I know that I like the Yellowstone Dusty with the pecan more than anything.
Right.
I gotta get some accoutrement for my tastings out here at the Little Havana. You've ruined me.
I think it's a great way to do a tasting. You know, it really does. Food does affect the flavor of whiskey.
Well, and it trains your palate too to pick up on things that you didn't pick up on before. So, you know, I write notes daily. I've done 2,500 or so barrel picks in my lifetime, and in doing so, I look at that flavor wheel up on the wall that I had custom created in our barrel tasting lodge. And when you're looking at something that you're tasting, you're more likely to pick it up. Your language gets more large.
Anyway, thank you for having us out here.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to have you here at this place, and you're always welcome. Anytime
We
you're on this
always
street,
enjoy-
just walk in.
We all, well, you're probably never home. You're on the road.
I'm on the road a lot.
But I've enjoyed coming out here, tasting some whiskey, and having a cigar with you. And
This
thank
has
you.
been incredible.
You got anything you?
It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too, sir.
First time.
This has been
Nice to meet you.
an amazing experience. Gotta do it again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
We don't have to do a video of it.
No.
We can just enjoy it.
That's right. Yeah.
So anyway, this has been Mike and Matt on the road with Steve Fante in his backyard, drinking whiskey
Little Havana.
and having a little Havana and having a cigar. And
Beautiful start to
Enjoy.
the morning. Whiskey Fest this evening. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Watch Hill Proper.
Gonna have a great day.